starting a Super Sun AIRSTRIKE partnership. Hooray! And today what we are doing is going over surge protection, which you will start adding to your HVAC quotes as a value add for your clients. So today we're going to train on what surge protection is, how to propose it, and why you should propose it on all of your quotes. Why are we here? We're protecting our clients' HVAC investments and the rest of their electronics from electrical surges. So today I want to go through what whole home surge protection is, why it's valuable, how to sell it, and then we'll go over our rollout process, which should be pretty seamless. So if you guys have any questions as we're going through, you can feel free to stop us, holler at us. This is game now.
Alright, so what causes the surges is really just any like big voltage spikes. That's going to come from lightning strikes, utility, anytime they're switching new communities, especially like as they're turning power onto a house, that's going to cause a surge in the system. And then just any motor load that's kicked on inside of the house, whether it's your washer or HVAC, any big excessive load like your ovens, anything like that. So all of the 240s is going to cause a surge. So when the older homes, when the AC kicks on, all the lights dim down, they come back up, that's a power surge coming through. So we want to have surge protection in to balance that out to where it doesn't affect that. But it helps protect all of the sensitive electronics in the house, which boils down to, the light bulbs are the most sensitive. So anytime your light bulbs are dimming a little bit, that's usually a really good sign that you have a surge coming through. And if you don't have a good surge protector, that same thing that's happening to all your light bulbs where they burn out in like 6 months or a year, even though they're an LED and should last like 15 years, is happening to your computers, TVs, washers, dryers, toasters, air fryers, all that fun stuff. And that's why your electronics start to go bad. If you have a good surge protector, it extends the life by a pretty significant amount.
If there's a lot of construction in an area, does that cause, like I hear a lot of people say that causes power surges, like if you're in a neighborhood and they're building a neighborhood next door?
100%, I see it a lot. And so it went into code, which I think we're gonna get into later on that, but yeah.
Well, we can wait on it then.
So I say the different, basically just things that go in here, it adds up to about $25,000 for the average house of like what's in there. I don't think anybody has satellite anymore, but you've got your router, a lot of people are starting to do EV chargers, and then what they don't have included in here is the EV when it's plugged in is still able to be affected by a surge. So as you're charging overnight, if a big surge comes through, lightning storm, stuff like that, it'll take out your charger and can potentially take out the car, which, really bad to have your $60,000 car just getting bricked.
Well, and typically in Texas, people's largest concern is their HVAC unit.
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume that it's close to home for you guys, and there's gotta be a lot of fear and anxiety around, I don't ever want my HVAC unit to go out, and if it doesn't go out, I don't ever want it to go out again, which is why I think this is gonna be a really strong partnership. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Right. Lots of money for not a lot of cost to save it all.
So how do you protect yourself? Surge protection! I got really excited with the PowerPoint here.
Alright, so what this is showing is basically dirty power coming into the surge protector, and then so what the surge protector does is collects the power on the line side, which is the incoming voltage, and then grounds out any excessive voltage, and keeps a balanced voltage going to the loads. So make sure that it's nice and clean power versus wavy.
It's like, what if because that goes on y'all usually put that on the main panel that's outside?
Yep. Correct.
It is, I guess if the ground, if it doesn't have a good ground, does it affect the surge
It
protector?
definitely will. So if they don't have an adequate grounding system, then the surge protection is only working half capacity.
Oh, okay.
And so what we want to look for, especially on like the really older homes, and pretty much anything after about 2000, you're not really gonna have to worry about it, but anything before 2000 for the year built, we want to check to make sure that they have ground rods.
Okay.
So you want to see, there should be a wire coming out of the bottom, and then it'll go into the ground, like into the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and that's usually a pretty good sign that they have a ground rod, ideally. It's not foolproof, but
But if they don't have that, that's
If
something
they
you guys
don't,
can address.
yeah, we'll address that while we're out there.
Is there a way for you guys to tell, like, isn't there a specific distance it goes down when they have a grounding rod, is there like some way that you're supposed to know, like, oh, that's properly grounded, you know?
I mean, no, because really we just need a 0 ohms of resistance. We can't have more than 10 ohms of resistance from the panel to the ground rod. And so we can test that.
Oh, gotcha.
And I say for the most part, if you get a ground rod in, you're gonna have less than that.
Okay.
So, and I say I wish that there was a super scientific way to test it. I'm pretty sure that there is. I'm just not spending the $20,000 on the equipment
Yeah.
Not what
to
you
do
do.
that.
Not worth it.
You know, that's what engineering firms can deal with. I just, if it's uncertain, drive 2 new ground rods and delete that one, and then know that they're good. But this cleans it all up. This is where surge protection was introduced into code in 2020, requiring all homes built after 2020 to have a surge protection device at the main panel.
But this is all that's in the 2020 code, and I underlined the part that just says you need surge protection, but there was no
They didn't specify what you needed, so a lot of what
quantification. Yeah.
builders were doing, were putting in like a 5 kVA surge protector, which is essentially the same as like the power strips that you get to just like have multi-plugs. Yeah, it's that trying to protect your whole house. So I liken it to giving your toddler a squirt gun and then expecting them to defend a home intruder. Like, yeah.
Where's
Just
that
not
located at, in the panel, or is
So
it?
that's gonna be in the main panel. Most of the time it's gonna be as a breaker,
Oh,
which we've got a picture of later. And then the 2023, they actually got specific with it. Now they require 10 kVA, which still
It's
isn't
not a lot.
really it's not a lot. The average lightning strike operates between 80 and 120 kVA of power. And so 10 kVA is not gonna solve really anything. It's just there for like the really minor day-to-day stuff. But if you have any big power surge, it's not gonna stop it.
There is a new code coming out. It gets revised every 3 years. So 2026 will have a new code launch, and Gabe is anticipating there to be.
They're not gonna bump the surge protection up.
You don't think they're gonna change the surge protection code requirements? Well,
Code's bare minimum. Why
Yeah,
would they
code's
change
always
it?
gonna be your bare minimum regulation.
Yeah, they're not gonna change it. It's protecting property effectively.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna change it. Now I'm expecting them to do a whole bunch of other things on the electrical side, but they're not gonna change surge protection.
so 10 kVA is bare minimum per code, but what would you say is an appropriate rating to actually protect somebody's electronics?
Anything over 100 kVA. So there's some surge protectors out there that have that. The Eaton Ultra, which is not what we provide, and then Leviton has one that's about this thick. It looks like crap, but it's about this thick, probably about a foot tall, 3 inches wide. Looks like a giant Lego. Like that one works pretty well too. But those are the only 2 that I've found that are like actually at an adequate level to protect your house. Everything else is subpar. It's not really going to do it in the event that something really big and bad happens. So these are the 3 different ones. A lot of the times when I ask homeowners if they have surge protection, they just point to their plug strip and I'm like, I'm good. And I'm like, no, you're not. The breaker here is what you'd see inside of the panel, so it's just gonna show the front of that with the green lit. It'll be in a breaker spot for like a 2-pole breaker. Usually in the main panel, they'll usually have it on like the top right corner. I don't know why they always do that. A lot of people think that it's required per code to have it there, and it's absolutely not. But that's a whole another thing. That's gonna be a 2-pole breaker. That's for a BR panel, but the CH square D, pretty much every other manufacturer looks the exact same. They just changed the label. I wouldn't be amazed if they were manufactured in the exact same spot. The one on the right there is what we actually use. So that's the PSP Vortex Series R. So we put that one in the main panel, and then if they have a sub panel, that's usually recommended as well. So what we do is hold one for the main, one for the sub, and then we have HVAC specific surge protectors, but I know that you guys already sell that, so that's not what I'm gonna talk to you about, but it's all manufactured by PSP. And then they have a $100,000 guarantee, so they're gonna cut a check up to $100,000 to replace anything that was wrong with it. It has a lifetime warranty for the unit itself, because it's the only one that has 3 separate, basically micro surge protectors inside of it. So we take the cover plate off and turn it and rotate it, but it has 3 separate in there, so it can take a surge every millisecond and never have it come through.
So, that, the warranty, then if, for instance, they get that installed, on their home, and then they have an older system that's already there, that like, say we didn't install a new system, but they have an older system, that and they get a surge, how does it go from there? Like, if I go to a customer like, oh, the surge protector company can cover the equipment? if
As
there's
long
a
as
surge?
it goes through the surge protector, it's gonna cover it.
Okay,
So basically, it'll have a green light if it's working properly. If the light's ever red and then there's an audible alarm on it, if that ever happens, then there's a really good sign that the surge came through, and then anything that's affected from there
Mhm.
is gonna be bad. Which is why we like to do it in the main panel and the sub panel, so it just gives more points of protection,
Mhm.
which increases the likelihood that if it does come through, it's gonna get paid.
Have you guys had to use that warranty
I've
process
never
yet
had
for
to use a
anything?
warranty process.
No,
Like,
okay.
it is
How often,
the-
how many of these have you installed?
I don't know how many. I've been installing for the last 5 years.
A lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
a shit ton. And I have never
Never
had a
had
warranty. I have the same thing on my house, and we've had a lightning strike like from here to the road away, and like it shut down the house for like a quarter of a second, came back on, and everything was fine. Like
Okay.
everything was perfect. And I've got smart switches and lights and all of the other fancy stuff because I can do it for really cheap. And no, it didn't care.
Okay.
It just kept on rolling.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's like, if that does happen, I wonder if it's like a difficult process to like get
Yeah.
things
Is it
covered.
through the distributor?
Yeah,
Whoever-
so it's gonna be through the manufacturer for PSP.
Okay, so it's through the manufacturer.
Yeah, but
And if you guys, since you, AIRSTRIKE will be subcontracting Super Sun to install these,
Yeah.
if you ever do have a concern, we would handle that.
I'm just gonna kick it to PSP.
Yeah,
They've got a whole
'Cause I was-
warranty department.
I was mainly just wondering because
Yeah,
like
they have
let me
a-
put it.
A piece of paper in there that gives the warranty number to call and everything. So
Okay.
I just leave that with the customer. I'm like, here's your warranty information. I've never needed it, but here it is. So
Yeah, because we think a lot of the times like on some older systems that we're like, oh, this went out from like like they have burnt wires or
Yeah.
something and caused it to go out. And like, oh, it's probably a surge.
Yeah.
But if they had that on there, but they ended up having that issue, then the manufacturer would pay for them to get a new system.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, and then it also supplements homeowners insurance, which I don't know if you have a slide for that, but
I don't have a slide for
most
that.
of the time, homeowners insurance policies don't cover surges, and so the big surge comes through, you lose your TV and your router and your sprinkler system and $10,000 worth of stuff, and you call your insurance company, you're like, hey dude, pay for this, and they're like, no, and then you just get to eat it out of pocket. And the number of times I've gone out for a lightning strike call, and like I show up before they realize all the damage, I'm like, hey dude, you need surge protection, they're like, nah man, it's fine, and then I get a call back 2 days later and they're like, dude, I lost $6,000 worth of stuff. That surge protector is like $1,200, right? I'm like, yep. Let's slap that in so it never happens again.
So the something, it works when it's installed.
Mhm.
If you show up to a call and there's an HVAC system that has been damaged by an electrical surge and they don't have a surge protector, I mean, there's nothing we can do
No.
then.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
the damage is done.
Right.
But installing this unit prevents future damage.
Right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if you went to service an HVAC unit and it already was at I don't know, 80% damaged from electrical surges. We installed a surge protector and then it does end up going out. And how does that warranty?
Yeah, because I wonder if they would
I'm
say
just
like,
curious.
oh no, this is
Yeah.
pre-existing, like, because with
I
working with like
I'm-
warranties and.
I'm guessing just from our original warranty experience with other manufacturers,
Yeah, I doubt that
they
they're
would,
gonna do
they will
previous.
probably not,
They'll
they
be like,
would,
oh, this system's 30 years old.
yeah, if you only got it installed, like, they might give them a cover, like a percentage for the last few years that they've had it, but not the entirety.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I'm guessing as well.
I'm not
The
sure.
point of the guarantee is that they're saying there will not be a surge that comes through their surge protector.
Right.
Because you have 3 different units in one
Yeah.
that protects you, what did you say, every millisecond?
Yeah, it can take a surge every millisecond, like high level surge every millisecond, and it's never gonna come through. Because it's got 3 separate, like super technical, I forgot the name of it, but 3 separate like little microcapacitors inside of it. And then it's also got a thermal, it's like TMPC or something like that, but basically a thermal overload on that that dissipates the heat for each one of the capacitors every millisecond. So because it has the 3, it can take 1. Where every other one only has 2, and so it can take the first one, it can take the second one, but there's 1 more millisecond before the first one resets, and so it lets things through, which is why we use this one. Because
I have a
it's
question.
Yeah.
Is there a way for this thing to show like how many surges it's protected the house from or anything like that. The only reason I ask is what if somebody is like, I would say like hope for the best, plan for the worst, and there are some customers that might try to be like, well, let me have them pay for a new fridge or whatever. Maybe the fridge has had an entirely different issue and that's why it's not working, but they're like, the surge protector didn't protect it from the surge, and that's why I need a new fridge. Like I need the warranty, and obviously they'll still put us in the middle of that to speak with the manufacturer. Although it sounds like they just need to deal with the manufacturer directly. But how do you navigate being like, no, that's not from a surge issue, and it's obviously not going to be under warranty?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say this one doesn't have a surge counter, the commercial version does.
Okay.
But this one doesn't have a surge counter. Most of the time I haven't had to deal with it.
Mhm.
We've actually had one where the customer had like micro power outages every time there would be a storm, or just the grid where he was living is just crap. And so he'd be washing his clothes, it would stop the washing machine just long enough to shut it off, and then the power would come back on, and it was off for that long. But then he'd have to go restart his whole laundry cycle. We put one of these on and it leveled it all out, and he hasn't had the issue since. So,
So no, there's not a surge counter.
but it prevents it, and then unless the red
Are there
light's
other
on,
ways of you as an electrical company of knowing if there's been surges in the area? I don't know if there's any data out there that.
you're gonna experience, I think we have another slide on that. Never mind, that was just the video. Your house experiences several hundred like mini surges, they call it transients, so it's not a full surge, but several hundred transients throughout the day. So like, you're gonna have a surge come through, and then every time the power goes out, lightning storm hits, new build, construction's happening down the road, like all of that's gonna cause surges. So like, I guarantee they're having a surge come through, it's just how severe it is. But unless the red light's on, this thing protected the surge.
Okay.
So unless there's a red light and.
And having a
auto
regular
alarm,
inspection done by your team would, you
uh,
guys would check if there's like a red light or a green light like every
Yeah,
time.
so we have the homeowner check it. Basically, what I tell them is like, PSP recommends checking it on a monthly basis, but also you would recommend to change your smoke detector batteries every 6 months, and I would.
Nobody does that.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I always tell them is like, check it after a big storm or a big power outage. If you see that, go check and make sure that there's a red light on. It's also got an audible alarm on it. I have no idea what it sounds like because I've never had to experience it. So like it.
Can you talk about the 12-time code exceeding?
Yeah.
So 10 kVA is baseline.
Yeah.
What is this one?
So this one has 120 kVA. It's the biggest one on the market for cost-effective side. There's some that are much bigger than this. They also cost like 6 times as much, and it's like a whole panel, and ridiculous and overkill. And unless you're like an engineer for NASA, you probably don't need it. But this one is the best on the market and the most cost-effective. There's several of its competitors who do less. So this one is 120 kVA, which is basically the same as like your entire panel worth of breakers. And its competitors do 108 and like 102 for the Eaton Ultra and then the Siemens, and do worse at it. So this one exceeds it in every possible way. And then the short circuit current rating, the SCCR, is 200 kiloamps, which is the important part. That's how quickly it can take a surge and how much of a surge it can take, which is the same as like a 400 amp system, which we don't deal with a whole lot. And when we deal with a 400 amp system, they usually have 2 separate panels, and we'll put one on each panel at the main panel. And then they essentially have the 400 amps. So, any questions on any of it?
Still going, man.
Okay, cool.
Why does this matter? We are making AIRSTRIKE more valuable to your clients. You can protect their HVAC unit at every step of the way, whether they're getting a brand new HVAC unit and experiencing the loss of money and I don't want to say time, but it's your time. That it's an emotional purchase to have a whole new HVAC unit, and so we're protecting their HVAC unit and all of their electronics in this one addition to your space. There.
I mean, I usually just propose it in a way of like, do you want to keep your electronics safe? And like, We probably have about a 40% take rate on it. We propose it on every single call, or pretty much every call. I think I ran into like 3 in the last year that actually had adequate surge protection. And so we just propose on every call and be like, this is gonna protect your investment in the best way possible. It's not very expensive, especially as they're putting in a new unit. I don't know exactly what that costs, but I've seen it range from like $10,000 to $30,000 depending on how much you're doing. So like, do you wanna spend another $10,000 in 6 years when you have a big surge come through, or do you wanna just buy this and not have to spend that money? Because it legitimately just evens it out, protects it. Every time I've had this put in, it solves any issue that they're having with their power.
And like you'd said too, Mitchell, for existing units that you're repairing, maybe you're not even replacing the unit. Hey, do you want to protect it from further damage?
Right.
And it'll stop any of the surges in its tracks. So even if it is damaged to like 80%, it's gonna stop it there. It's not gonna revive anything, but it'll stop it from being damaged more and let it keep functioning at whatever level it's functioning at.
Okay.
So yeah, so our rollout process is for on your service calls, we put surge protection on every single one of our quotes. I'll let your team decide if that's the standard practice that you want to do. But introducing the surge protector, that value pitch to the clients, add the option to your quote. It is already in your price book right now. You get right? Yes, it is in your price book. And then you will sub Super Sun Electrical Services to get that unit installed. Time wise, that takes our team.
About 15-20 minutes to drop it in.
It's not
And that the price includes a breaker for that. So we just want a picture of the panel so that we can make sure that we have the right breaker. If the panel is completely full, that's not an issue. We can line side to the main breaker or the main lugs with this one, so it's ready for that. So if they don't have breaker spaces, it's not a problem. I like to put it on a breaker just because it makes life a little bit easier, but we're not required to.
So once you've added this to your quote, if the client accepts it, what you will then do is call in to our main number, which you'll get our administrative person, Jordan, and say, hey, I just sold this unit. I'm gonna be out there installing whatever on this day and time. Can you get a guy out here to install the surge protector?
We can usually fit it in because it's a pretty quick process.
And like Dave said, it's 15, 30 minutes. It's a very simple install on our end. So even if you're out there, you sold it, and you're doing that work same day, we can likely get someone out same day.
Do y'all have to kill the full power to install those?
Nope.
And I said I try not to kill full power because it just pisses someone
I just
off.
didn't
Yeah.
want
And then like
you
we're
guys to
working
start
out
adding
and
it.
working from home.
Yeah.
And so they're in some important meeting or
Only
working on some
twice.
spreadsheet and it's like, and then like,
Nope.
oh. I mean, I definitely had some people that wanted to like skip out on work and they're like, do you need to kill the power? And I was like, no. And they're like,
Can you
okay.
kill the power?
That was an excuse. And I was like, absolutely, tell them that I kill the power.
But this is
Right, you're like, you can say whatever you want.
right.
And so I'll like go kill power for that one, but yeah.
So yeah, so you're now subcontracting Super Sun to offer these units to your clients. This is we're offering AIRSTRIKE our membership price. So you what?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. So our cost to you is $844. So I'm not sure what that looks like in your price book, but you'll have, hey, quantity of one, it's a whole home surge protection. It looks like whatever it looks like in your price book, that however you added it. And then that description in there says, hey, we're protecting you and your HVAC and all of your electronics with this. You get all sorts of goodie things. And that's surge protection. Woo!
Cool.
Do y'all have questions?